Welcome back. A lot of you who resonate with my content or resonate with my style sell to fairly sophisticated audiences. You sell to smarter people. And the challenge is that you sell to these smarter, higher level, sophisticated people. But a lot of the info and advice that you get on the internet when it relates to sales is people selling dropshipping courses to fucking 19-year-olds. And so you're taking that to calls, but then it's not landing. Or maybe you're not even taking it to calls because you don't think it'll land. You're not wrong. And so this video today is specifically for you if you sell to higher level, smarter, more sophisticated people, and how to be able to get across to them while still hitting the checkpoints of your sales process without sounding like a fucking retard. And so today you're not going to watch me close some 19-year-old kid who's buying a dropshipping course so that he can go rent a penthouse in Miami with 8 guys and then get a Corvette, right? You're not going to watch me selling to a lower level, less sophisticated audience. You're going to watch me selling to a doctor, and you're going to watch how I handle tough analytical buyers who don't just easily hand over their credit card without it making sense. But what you're not going to see is me dropping my frame, is me kissing their fucking ass because they're at a high level. And the call that I picked, women in particular, tried to take the frame from me very early on. Something I always say is that prospects, especially smarter ones, will shit test you and see if they can get away with it. And so she tried to do that pretty early on. It obviously didn't fucking work, and we were able to get over the line. And part of that was because of the respect and the trust that I had gathered from her, right? So welcome back. If you're new here and you're wondering who is this handsome young man with dreads with tattoos talking about high ticket sales and what does he even know, my name's Nick. I have collected over $3 million in cash over the last 3 years. I've helped close to 100 people get life-changing results, like Alex here making 10 grand a month as a setter, outperforming I think 6 closers on his team. We got D'Aven here consistently getting 15 25k days. We got Maxine here closing 3 deals on her very first week on a brand new offer. We got Chris here being top of the leaderboards in his very first month on an offer, dethroning the guy who had been there for 14 months. Point I'm saying here is the shit that I'm talking about doesn't just work for me, but it is also replicable, right? Because the people I just showed you sell trading algorithms. They sell to functional medicine doctors. They sell to project managers who make 500 grand a year, and they implement exactly what we're about to go through. So if you want to be one of them, if maybe the advice that you're getting on the internet isn't resonating to you and to your target audience, hit the link below. And without further ado, let's dive right in. So the very first thing that you have to understand, so the way we're going to do this is there's 4 main parts of the framework that I follow. There's the frame, there's the problems, there's the heaven/solution, and then there's the hell/consequence, right? It's interchangeable. And so there's going to be checkpoints for each and every one of them. And so before we begin with the frame here, the most important thing is the mindset going into it. This is something very important that I teach my one-on-one clients, is that you don't want to see this person as better than you. You need to understand that yes, they're successful compared to the rest of society, but they are on your calendar because there's something in this world that they don't have, and there's something that they saw that you could potentially give them. And in the dynamic of this conversation, your frame is going to be higher than them, even if they make more money, even if they have more money in the bank account. Regardless of that, even if they're in better shape than you, right? They are here to solve a specific problem that you have the keys to, and you need to internalize this, and you need to stop seeing them as so much better than you and so much higher on this pedestal because you have what they don't. So with that said, let's look at the call and let's start with the frame. So the point of the frame, there's a couple key things. Framing the call and letting them know how this conversation is going to go and setting the expectations. Number 2 is putting them in a decision-making state. And number 3 is dropping their guard. These are really key things. And so what you need to understand is that when you get into a sales call, people are reading you and they're putting you through a list of filters of, is this person on the same level as me? Are they above me or are they below me? And so you want to stay away from using language that indicates that you're below them, like, thank you for your time, thank you for hopping on today, or I'm glad you were able to make it. What that's telling them is that your time is worth less than theirs, and in their world, your time's worth less. So that's why you're thanking them for it. It's very subconscious, and so you're immediately bucketed as lower. Right? You want to stay away from stuff like that. You also want to stay away from fake rapport, because how that's registering to them is this is a salesperson who is trying to artificially get me to like them so that they can sell me, right? And so you don't want to talk about shit that is not relevant to the conversation. You don't want to come off as fabricated. Oh, where are you based? Oh, how's the weather there? Oh, my fucking grandma lives there. Oh, I went there when I was 12. They don't care. You want to hit those 3 checkpoints as soon as you start the call. Framing, decision-making state, and and dropping their guard. So let's see exactly how I did it with this young lady here. Morning, guy. I'm staying out of trouble. How about you?
I can't say that I'm staying out of trouble, but I'm doing well.
Oh man, it sounds like you're looking for it. Looks like you're looking at potentially getting some outside support as a physician. Does that sound about right?
Yes. Hold on. I'm gonna try to find out what's going on with my volume.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like always on our like naughty list for administrative duties. We have a naughty list,
Mm-hmm.
and it's published publicly,
Mm.
and I'm on it a lot, and I need to figure it out.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can figure it out. My name's Nick. I'm the director of physician wellness. I've worked with almost 1,000 NPs, physicians who are also on the naughty list. So, like, what actually to work best on these calls is we just open up. So, firstly, we're getting straight to it, right? I'm telling her who I am, what I've done, and my relevance in this conversation. I'm not asking her where she's based. I'm not asking her anything irrelevant to why she's fucking here. Right? We see what's going on, see if what we're doing here would help. If it feels like it would, we'll talk about possible next steps. I will say though, we are definitely not for everyone. So if I don't think we could help you out here, I'll make sure I point you in the best direction. I'm not just gonna leave you up in the air. Okay?
Okay, that sounds
Cool.
good.
Oh, easy stuff. So let's rewind, I guess. So instantly I'm hearing a little bit of like her voice sounds a little weird there, and I'm not over analyzing it, but she's like, that sounds good. Like, okay, that's weird. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind. But as far as the frame, what did we do there? Right? I let her know how the call is going to go, and I put her in a decision making state, meaning if it makes sense, we'll talk about potential next steps, meaning a decision is going to be made today if it makes sense. And I'm dropping her guard by saying, if not, I'll make sure I point you in the best direction and I won't leave you in the air. So there's a chance that what we're doing here may not even make sense for you. There's a chance that we may not even be able to help you. I'm going to determine that through the questions I ask, and I'm going to let you know, right? So now we're about to move into the problems and understanding her situation. Now, something key here when it comes to selling to smart people is you want to start logically and then move emotional. You don't want to go straight for the emotion when you're dealing with these types of people. Again, if you're selling to a kid who's 19 who wants to like fucking drive a C8 in Miami, you could go a little more emotional, a little quicker. If you're selling like a truck driver, a carpenter, or just lower sophisticated people, you could do that. Doctors, lawyers, people who are educated, right? People who have more brain cells, it's not going to work. You need to start with the logic. Like, what is the literal problem, the literal reason they're on the call, and you're going to diagnose that. So watch how I do it. I guess in your words, what would you say is the biggest challenge when it comes to the admin, to where you're consistently finding yourself on that naughty list?
I am an attending physician for residents. So I'm one of three core faculty members right now in a family medicine residency. And we have 16 residents to supervise. So we're actually understaffed because by the ACGME standards of graduate medical education, we're supposed to have a 1-to-4 ratio. But right now we're like closer to 1-to-5 and some change.
Okay.
And we're having a hard time filling that last position, which means like for the past 2 years, we've just been chronically understaffed.
Okay.
So it just means more patients to see when you're supervising the residents. Sometimes I could see supervising the residents. If I have 4 senior residents, I could see up to 80 patients in a day, which
Hmm.
means 80 notes to co-sign, which means 80 sets of results to review, and then
Yeah.
the patient questions and all of that.
So what she's doing here is she's externalizing the problem. She's telling me that the reason that she's on this naughty list when it comes to charts, means she's consistently behind, is because of the sheer volume and because they're understaffed and they haven't been able to fill that seat where ideally another doctor should be. So when someone is externalizing, what they're doing is they're making the problem outside of their control. And so what we need to do is we need to bring it back internal and bring it back to a problem that they can solve. Because if they believe that the problem is external, well, then the solution is going to be external too. The solution isn't going to be them changing. It's going to be their job making changes. And obviously they have no control over that. So watch how I bring it back internal.
And questions and all of that. So
And like outside of volume, because like there's always the things we can control and then the things we can't. So unfortunately, we can't make them high faster and we can't get you less patients. And so outside of the volume, like what else do you think is adding to, the admin consistently piling up?
yeah, because one of my colleagues has no trouble keeping up.
Hmm.
And I think I'm not diagnosing myself with OCD. I don't really have an OCD, but I'm definitely one of those slow, thorough type physicians. If you've worked with 1,000 providers, there's different types. There's like the
Yeah.
quick, efficient, one problem, one visit type people, and then there's like the I'm gonna try to do everything I can to the best of my ability, leave no stone unturned, make sure my
Okay.
documentation makes sense. Yeah, I fall in that second category, and I think probably I could let go of some of that.
But so let's unpack that a little bit. So when you say slow and thorough, leaving no stone unturned, how does that show up in the visits? Boom. So she told me that there are other physicians in her office that are able to get things done, but they're more quick and efficient, but she is slow and leaves no stone unturned. What I'm hearing is there's a little bit of perfectionism. That's something she could change. That's good. Let's keep going.
Um, so a couple things. So I will say, despite my best attempt at agenda setting, you do have those patients where they just every time they come in have a million things going on. Try to redirect them, try to limit the number of problems you address, and kind of don't have success with that. That happens a lot. We have really complex patients. We're in a rural health setting. Everybody has complex patients these days. But,
Yeah, I
so
get that. The
sometimes I let my
struggle is
patients, keep me in the room too long, definitely. Especially when I'm supervising my own, I do okay with my clinic patients when I'm seeing patients myself, but when I'm supervising the residents, I think the patients who have seen residents who are more that first style of like quick, efficient, get in, get out, when I come in to supervise and make sure we go over the plan and that the
so something I don't want you to miss is she's being a little more conscious of her language because she said I have complex patients, which is externalizing, but then she instantly corrected and said, well, everybody has complex patients these days. That's good.
and that the patient and I and the resident physician are on the same page. Sometimes I found myself really getting stuck there for a long time. And
Okay, so take me back a second. So something key you said is like this is important that when they fucking are rambling, she's rambling and she's giving things that are relevant and necessary. But I know you guys have been on calls where they just spit out every fucking pain point. They give you a bunch and you're like, where do I even start? And so now what we're doing here is we're putting a break to it and we're going to unpack what she just gave me of her spending a lot of time in the room with the patients and having a struggle to redirect it. You'll try to set the agenda, try to redirect, but then don't have much success, and then they keep you in the room too long, right? And so, like, give me a little clarity there. What do you think is the challenge and for you internally when it comes to like redirecting them so they're not keeping you in the room too long?
I mean, they have valid questions. Their problems are real, and
Okay.
I want them to feel cared for. So I answer their questions and I address their problems. And
Okay. We'll unpack it together. And so, with you, like, what comes up inside when they ask these questions and, maybe saying like, we need to set another appointment or like, that's not what we came for. Like, how does that translate in your mind? What comes up?
well, no, I do that all the time. So just to be clear, I do that. I do that often. There's just let's see what comes up. So I don't like feeling if like I don't like if the patient leaves feeling like they wasted their time. I don't want a patient to feel like they didn't get what they came for. I have what I want to take care of, your uncontrolled diabetes, and you have what you want to take care of, which maybe, your disability paperwork or your sleep or whatever. Um,
So my question is, what comes up when it's time to interrupt the patient and say, look, we didn't come here for all this shit. Let's talk about what we actually came for. And then she contradicts herself a little bit and says, well, I do that all the time. Interesting. Didn't fully answer my question though. So like when we look at that, does it maybe feel a little disrespectful to not address everything that they came for, like in your mind?
yeah, I think that's sure, you could put it that way. I think also it feels like,
You could put it that way. Okay. She's struggling to internalize it, which is all good. That's why she's got Poppy on the call.
gosh, I don't know how to really put this. I think I might have to reflect on this a little bit more for you because I can't really I don't know. It feels,
Unpack it together. There's no right or wrong answer.
yeah, and
We'll unpack it together. This is really key because the sales call is collaborative and you have to consistently remind them that me and you versus the problem. So right now, I'm asking her a question that she's probably never faced because in her mind, she's been telling herself that the reason she's piling with these charts, the reason she's not able to she's on this naughty list is because she's understaffed. Now I'm making her look at it from a lens of, well, this is actually your fucking fault. And she's struggling to do that. And so she's trying to deflect and run away from the question by saying, I'll have to reflect on that and get back to you. Like, what am I supposed to say? Oh yeah, okay, let's set a follow-up, go think about that, and then come back to me. Like, what are we talking about?
I also think I feel like we're drifting too
Okay.
because really where I'm getting into trouble on the naughty list actually has nothing to do with how long I'm in the patient's room.
Okay.
That's a whole other problem.
So what did she just do there? She subtly just tried to take control. She said, I feel like we're drifting here because the reason that I'm on this naughty list isn't because of how long I spend in the room with the patient. It's fucking wrong. That's the exact reason, because if she were able to get the charts done with the patient in the room, well, then she wouldn't be on the naughty list. She'd be caught up if she was able to do that. And so now, as I'm trying to get her, and it's all subconscious, she's not doing this with like ill intent and to be like malicious, like, oh, I'm going to take the control in the frame from Nick. It's because she's struggling to look within and see where she could potentially be part of the problem. And so she's like, well, let's stop talking about this and let's move on to how you can help. Is ultimately what she's trying to say. So this is really important because this is her shit testing me now. What I'm going to do and what you need to do when this happens is you need to be able to justify your questions, but in a way that still keeps the frame, right? In a way that still keeps the conversation moving forward. You're not over explaining yourself, but you're making the questions make sense to her. And you're pointing the questions towards the outcomes. Let's keep going. The
But really,
problem.
what I need help
Mhm.
with is getting my notes and my lab results and my patient questions and my inbox answered more quickly.
Okay. So I'll give you a little context. The problems they coincide. I'll tell you what I mean, right? The what you think is the problem is actually the symptom, right? Because the symptom that's showing itself is that you're not able to get the labs done and the charts done and the notes done. But if we backtrack, part of the reason that it's piling and you're on that naughty list is because we're not able to do it in the visit. And so if we look at why we're not able to do it in the visit, part of it is because we're staying long. And so we need to understand why we're staying long in those visits and what's coming up internally when it comes to being able to actually get it done in time with the patient in the room and ultimately like not running over. And so that's where the questions come from. So we're not drifting. We're on the right place.
Okay, I'll trust you. I'll follow your lead then.
All good. Damn right, follow my lead, right? Because I just made it make sense and I just passed the shit test. And again, it's this is a result of her just struggling to internalize it, not because she wants to be this like asshole. It's because she's never seen the problem as something that is on her, right? And that's hard to look at. It's hard to admit that you're the problem. But the fact that I was able to pass the shit test, I was able to keep frame. She says, I'll trust your lead. And that's exactly what she does. And she doesn't do that again. Good. Good.
So I wouldn't say it feels disrespectful. I mean, yeah, it feels disrespectful. Oh God, I haven't been in therapy so long. Nick, you're making me feel like I'm back in therapy. I wouldn't say it feels disrespectful. Maybe it does.
I'm typically not a fan of when people say they feel like they're in therapy because therapy doesn't always result in action. Nothing against therapy. But what I am a fan of is you can't really see her body language, but you can hear her tone. And she's like, fuck, we're about to get into a challenging conversation. Exactly what I just said of, oh, I have to look at how I'm the problem now. And I can't keep putting the problem out there and external. Let's keep going.
It does. I feel like modern medicine leaves a lot to be desired for patients.
Okay.
A busy primary care clinic, you have a patient come in, you address one thing, it fails to acknowledge how holistic a patient is, how all the problems are probably related, how you're forcing me to talk about why I want to stay in that room because it's a symptom of the true problem, or it's the true problem that's causing the symptoms. I run into that with patients too. And
Okay.
part of me feels like if I don't stay in the room and get to the root of what we're doing, that I'm neglecting the patient. Maybe that's the better word, neglect.
Okay. See, we're getting closer. Okay. So in your mind, like if you don't answer every single thing that they're asking you, then you tie that to you neglecting the patient and not giving them the proper care. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe not every single thing, but yeah, I think yeah, more or less. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Okay. So tell me this, how long are your patient visits? That's the flaw in her thinking that we just uncovered, right? And again, you can't see her because she's blurred, but she's starting to smile a little bit because she's like, fuck, motherfuckers got me. And it's not even I got her like it's me versus her. It's I'm the problem, which she's been struggling to acknowledge.
So when I'm supervising residents, that's really my problem area because like my personal charts are fine. So when I'm supervising residents, I really on a busy day need to be in and out of that room in less than a few minutes.
15 or how many is a few?
No, 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 no. I need to be in and out of that room. This is after the resident's already done their visit. So the resident has 30 minutes from start to finish.
Okay.
And then I come in at the end after the resident, precepts with me. So they say, this is Miss So-and-so, she has these problems. This is the plan I want to do. And we look through the chart together and we come up with a plan. We agree on it. And then I go in the room and I say to Mrs. So-and-so, hey, Dr. So-and-so and I talked about your plan. This is what we're thinking, X, Y, Z. Are you good with that? Did you get your questions answered? And so really that process of me just confirming the plan with the patient and making sure we're all speaking the same language, in my mind, needs to take less than 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
But
So,
sometimes it takes a lot longer than that.
okay, got you. So it's supposed to take 5 minutes. How long does it typically take? What's a lot longer?
So, I mean, I definitely have found myself in that room like for like 15 minutes. And the
Okay.
problem with that is I have three other residents waiting to precept with
That could
me.
be trouble. That could be trouble,
Yeah.
Ah, that could be trouble. That could be trouble. I love saying that could be trouble.
right? You spending 3 times the amount of time you're supposed to spend, and this is coming from a good place, right? You spending 3 times the amount that you're supposed to spend with the patient in the room because you don't want to feel like you're neglecting them. At the end of the day, who's that neglecting?
Sauce, we're cooking up right now. Because now we have momentum at getting her to look at it internally. Now we're starting to unpack the logical problem that she spends too much fucking time with the patient in the room. She wants to answer all these questions because she doesn't want to feel like she's neglecting them. And so now this is giving me enough vulnerability to start to transition the conversation into a more emotional place. Who's that neglecting? She's going to say her. Okay, how's that? How are you neglecting yourself? I almost spoiled it, but let's keep going.
Well, me and also the patients. That's the other problem. Uh-oh. Sorry, my computer locked. I don't know why it locked on me. Can you still hear me?
I do.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
How's that
It seems
neglecting?
like
How's
it
that
might be
neglecting
doing
you?
it.
How's it
How is
neglecting
that not to
you?
me? Yeah, well, I mean, I know what this process is about. I want to I want to like at night sleep well, not thinking that if I don't get up super early to work on charts or stay up super late working on charts, I don't want to like be thinking about that anxiety, stress. Like I want to in my off time just be relaxed. So
Hmm.
definitely neglects me, but also neglects the patients too, because I mean, I'm looking at lab results right now from June. So like,
Mm.
I'm reviewing the residents see them, but I go over what I go over their work because they're new and they're learning and they might miss
Right.
something. So if I can't tell you how often I find an AKI a month later, sorry, an acute kidney injury a month
Hmm.
later. Like should have been something that should have been addressed in a couple days. If the resident didn't address that, then this
Yeah.
patient, there's been so many
So,
near misses like that.
So can I say something without potentially offending you? I promise it's in your best interest.
Now that we have a grip on the logical problem, now she needs to own that motherfucker, right? And so before challenging, I always start by saying, okay, can I say something without potentially offending you to prepare her?
It's in your best interest.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for.
How much longer do you want to continue neglecting yourself, your sleep, and indirectly neglecting your patients because of this perception of not wanting to like neglect them the way you said in the room? Like, how much longer do you want that to go on?
Sauce, we're cooking, right? And I'm getting her to own the fucking problem. Like, how much longer do you want this thing to go on? And I'm challenging her, but not in like a dickhead way. Let's keep going.
No, that's why I'm here. I don't want to. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm so over it. Also, I'm like thinking I'm 2 years in my career. I'm like ready to quit medicine because
yeah,
I'm not the kind of person who wants to be on the naughty list. I want to be,
I can
a
see
high
that.
performing physician and I want my patients to be well cared for.
Yeah, I could see that, right? Because again, if I could say something without offending you, right? That perspective and that way of thinking of they come with a million things, and if I don't answer their million things, I'm neglecting them. That's what's going to keep you stuck.
That's some sauce right there. Once you find the problem and you label it, that is what's going to keep you stuck in this prospect. Like, how much longer do you want that to continue going on for?
You see?
Yeah, I get that. Can I say one more thing, Nick, too?
Go ahead.
Um, the other thing I think that keeps me in that room is I don't really like trust. I don't necessarily like, trust the residents who have done their job all the time. Now, some of them are amazing.
So I want you to see what's going on here, right, as it's unfolding. Because now, as I've trained her to look internally, we're not talking about external shit anymore. We haven't talked about that since like very early on in the call. Now she's giving me even more context about why she's the problem. This is the same thing, guys, that she was trying to run away from. Same thing she was trying to avoid. Now she's starting to see other ways that plays out. Let's keep going.
Amazing. Like, totally. I'm in and out of the room 10 seconds every time. I'm like, I got this. She's well trained. She knows what she's doing.
Okay.
But the residents who I feel like maybe don't doctor the way I doctor, I find myself making up for it. And I get this
Hmm.
feedback from the patients after I leave the room that's like, oh my God, thank you. Those were all the questions that weren't answered. So I wonder if there's also some room for me to like hand that back to the residents. But knowing that we are never going to have the exact same medicine style, I don't know how that will work.
Okay. Is it fair to say that part of like your job as the attending is that kind of allowing them to make a little bit of mistakes and you're going to catch them later? Like, is that fair to say that maybe we're going to have to let go of a little bit of that control of like they didn't do their job 100% and letting them make those mistakes and then coaching them through them so they don't continue to make them? Like you get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's for sure part of my job.
Yeah.
Just that your mistakes are
So,
being made on real humans. That's the only bummer about that. That's in residency.
which is going to have to happen regardless, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm not saying to neglect.
There's truth to what she's saying. Like, yes, we're practicing on real people. At the same time, she's trying to prevent mistakes that are going to have to happen. The doctors are going to have to learn through mistakes. And she has control issues and she's struggling to let go of the control. That's why she's in front of me today. Right. So, like, we can't let her justify by saying, well, these are real humans. Okay, that doesn't change the fact that it's not going to be your responsibility to catch every single thing before it happens rather than letting them make a couple of mistakes and being able to correct it in its path. Like, she needs to let go of some of the control that she has.
Saying to neglect your patients or anybody, right? But is it fair to say that maybe there's like a little bit of control you're struggling to let go of there?
Definitely, no question. There's no question. I'm so protective. Not yeah, I'm so protective of patients who, when I feel like they didn't get the answers they needed. It makes me feel like, leaves me feeling unsatisfied. And a lot of what I'm trying to do in those moments is maybe model for the resident. Like, this is how I would have this conversation in hopes that next time they will have it that way. And I think, I think a lot of them do learn and pick up on that. But there's always going to be a fresh wave of residents. There's always going to be new learners. And so I need to figure out how to do that modeling in a way that's efficient and maybe not model everything. Maybe just model on like one topic.
Of course, right? And the tactics are important of how to be more efficient, how to teach them. But again, if we look at it, that's only a symptom, right? Because the problem here is the control. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's two problems you gave me there. The first was the neglect, which we'll get back to, but then this one is the control. And so are you willing to make the active decision of letting go of that control as you learn to be more efficient in how you train them? Like, are you willing to make that decision?
Right? We've seen two different areas about why she's in the place that she's in because of herself. And so we need to not put the responsibility back on her to make the decision to let go of these things that are not serving her well. And also, what we're doing here is we're getting her, which I've been saying the entire video here, is we're getting her in the mind frame and the process of taking ownership over her problems. Because if the problem is internal, then the solution is also internal. So a lot of times, you guys get people at the end of the call of people externalizing, and you think that you have an objection handling problem, but they've been telling you throughout the entire call that the externalizing problems is their worldview. That's how they make decisions. That's how they see the world. And it's a worldview that is not serving them. And so if you know how to listen, you could be able to train them earlier on, like I'm doing now, to be able to look at it within and internally. Like, I rarely get objections of people saying things like, oh, well, I just found you guys. I just saw who you are today. Right? That's an externalization because I'm able to handle that way of thinking early on, which is what I'm trying to teach you fuckers how to do. Let's keep going.
I think so. I'm a teachable gal.
Are you saying it for me and because it fits the conversation, or because you're actually ready to let go of that?
No, because I just want something different. I know it can't keep going this way. So whatever that means, I know in the end we're gonna find a happy medium ground where we're like, I'm more efficient and my patients are still getting good care, so I can trust that process. Like, I've been in enough therapy. I know how this process. I know how these things go. I'm willing to definitely make changes, even if it feels scary. I mean, I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah. And you said you're 2 years into your career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When it comes to these particular changes of letting go of control, of letting go of that perspective of neglect, why now to let go of that?
Because
I think in hindsight, I asked the why now a little earlier. I would have asked it a little later on after finding out like what she's done to try to solve this problem, but it still lands. And something else that I forgot to say earlier on is that now we're in the problem phase, and the checkpoint here, there's going to be a fucking box somewhere, is what are the problems? What are the effects of those problems, and then the duration. And so the reason I said that I probably should have waited a little longer before asking the why now is because I understand the problem, what's going on, but I need to understand the impacts before the duration because it makes it hit a lot harder. But I still got a good ass answer despite that. Let's keep going.
because I have had one too many conversations with my administrators that are like, if things don't change, you're gonna be on a plan where we're gonna force you to look at this many lab results in a day, or like we're not gonna let you go on vacation or whatever. It's just it's creating a lot of stress for me at work, which I feel is leading to a dissatisfaction with my work.
Yeah.
Boom, now we know that her job is potentially on the line. And what's interesting about what she just said is her job told her that if she doesn't get her fucking shit together, that they're going to start looking at, they're going to have to force her to look at it. Meaning her job has been trying to get her to internalize it for some time now, but she's been telling herself the same story. She was trying to tell us earlier that she's not actually the problem. The reason that she's like this is because of the fact that they need to hire more people and that she has too many people, right? Now she's starting to see the problem as something that she can solve, and her job is already seeing it as that, right? Even though I didn't ask it exactly at the time that I would have wanted to, I still got a really good answer. Let's keep going.
And this stress that you're talking about, does it show up? Like, do you have a family too, or is it just you?
Now we're getting emotional. So we checked the logical box. Now we can start to talk about the emotional. In other words, how does it affect her, right? Her family, her fucking marriage if she has one, her kids if she has kids.
Yes, I have a husband, and I have a huge friend group, family group, my cousins, my mom, everybody's, we're all really close.
Yeah.
I would say yes, it shows up in some ways. So here's one thing I've done that's new in this past year, and maybe part of the reason that the pendulum kind of swings so many ways. So at first, when I started this, I was working until 11 p.m. every night, which I know a lot of your clients do this. I was working until 11 p.m. every night and waking up early before work in order to keep up. And I was like, well, that's unsustainable. That was horrible. I was never seeing my husband. It was just really, I didn't go into primary care to be working those kind of hours. So then I started setting boundaries with work. And so then I was like, okay, I'm working 8 to 5. Whatever that means, I'm working 8 to 5, and whatever I get done from 8, maybe I was really doing 8 to 6, or 7 to 6, something around there, but more reasonable towards a 40-hour work week. And I was like, whatever gets done, gets done. But then I got to the point where I had 500 notes to sign. My whole tasks were 1,300.
So what is she telling us here? That she swings from extremes, or you have to understand the person, you have to listen to the language, is she was either, she had the balance and she was drowning in the notes, and now she's not drowning as much in the notes, even though she's on the naughty list, but she doesn't have the balance, right? You got to be able to listen to that so you can label it correctly. Listen to how I label it right after.
So I'm like, oh, that's not working either. So I still have a little bit of these good boundaries with work. Right now I'm in the place where I'm working probably usually 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is to me a reasonable amount of time.
It sounds like you're in a place where you have to pick, do I fall very behind in work or am I present?
Is that what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
Right, and you can hear it in her tone. We fucking nailed it the way that I just labeled it. Do we fall behind with work, or are we present at home? And she's not able to have both of them, right?
there definitely are times when I'm feeling guilty that I'm not working, and I know that it's impacting the vibes.
How does it impact the vibes?
Right now we're getting deeper into an emotional conversation. Remember, she said she has a husband.
Maybe okay, so I'm one of those don't think about it, so I'm gonna distract myself kind of people. So I might be mindlessly scrolling, so I'm not thinking about work. Instead of where I could be enjoying my husband's time. We're we're on the couch physically together, but I need a distraction, so I'm just scrolling through Instagram or reading a book or something.
Wow.
And also I would say probably I get irritable at times when I feel stressed about work, or he could be talking to me about something and it's just going a little bit in one ear out the other because I'm thinking about something at work.
How does
So
he
those are all.
The fact that you're not fully there.
That's powerful, right? And I wouldn't have gotten this type of an answer if I asked it too early on. She just told me that her husband, when she's with her husband, she's distracting herself and thinking about work.
Pardon?
How does he pick up on the fact that you're not fully there?
He says things like, I feel like you're not listening to me, or I already told you that 3 times, those kinds of things. I have to tell you this over and over. How did you forget? Those
I think
kinds
that
of
makes
things.
sense.
Oh, I'm sure that's horrible. He probably, I know he feels at times I don't listen to him. And
We're getting momentum, right? She told me how it affects her husband. How does it make him feel?
that's horrible.
And how does that make you feel as a wife?
Oh, awful. I love my hubby. I want him to feel seen and heard and respected, and, I want to create a space for him and all of that.
Right? So this is a high-level, sophisticated person, but I'm still asking, how does that make you feel? But the difference here is that I, one, I have context before asking it, and B, I've been able to gain vulnerability through the context that I have. So it's not just the cheesy, so how does that make you feel? personally though, with no context, just asking a very obvious, blatant, salesy ass question. Need context before you ask shit like that, especially with smarter people.
That.
I can imagine. I can imagine. What's his name? We keep saying husband.
Corey.
Corey. And does Corey know that you're looking at potentially getting outside support?
And this makes it real. Like if you've watched any of my other videos where I talk about spouse, I always like to put a name to the spouse, right? To make them relive it even more. And so now what we're about to do is we're about to pre-handle the spouse objection. Very tactically, very saucy. Watch how.
So that it's not going in when you're at the other? Or is it like pleasant surprise for him?
No. Well, I did tell Corey was taking this class. And we've done like a lot of like marriage therapy and things over the years. Like we've done personal therapy and marriage therapy. I'm a big believer in therapy. So he knows that we're kind of always working to grow together. That's like one of my sacred, like my relationship with my husband. He's also my best friend. It's very sacred to me. So we protect it at all costs.
Yeah, got you. So that's good, first of all, that you guys take one as serious. So for him, it sounds like he just like wants you to be present, wants you to fix the relationship with work, whatever that looks like. He kind of trusts your judgment when it comes to your own wellness.
Yeah, he definitely wants me to feel less stressed. Like I think he worries about me more than anything.
Good.
I think he worries about my mental health.
Yeah, and that's good. Not good again that he's worrying, but like
There's some right. So now I know that her husband trusts her judgment to do what she needs to do to be able to be more present with him.
there's some doctors we just can't help. And what I mean by that is they know they need to change. Their kids, if they have, their husband knows they need to change. But then when it's time,
I'm gonna rewind because this is like a really saucy identity frame that I'm putting on her.
yeah, and that's good. Not good again that he's worrying, but like there's some doctors we just can't help. And what I mean by that is they know they need to change. Their kids, if they have, their husband knows they need to change. But then when it's time to change, they want to deflect the responsibility to them or the decision to them. Right. What's interesting about the dynamic you just expressed there is that it sounds like you kind of taken the ownership over your own thing, and like he's on the same page. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that an accurate
So
depiction?
I really hope that I'm self-aware enough to know that, I mean, I feel like
So we just put an identity frame on her, right? She took ownership and the responsibility earlier and said, yes, he knows, he supports my judgment and being able to solve this, and I'm rewarding her for that. I'm saying, because there's some doctors we just can't help who they know they need to change. Everyone around them knows they need to change, but then when it's time to change, they want to put the responsibility onto him. I'm glad that's not the conversation that we're having, right? I'm glad you're smarter than that. And in addition, I also put another frame on her and saying it sounds like you've kind of taken ownership over this being your own thing. This type of shit is important because it's really going to help if she were to give me a spouse objection at the end. Let's keep going. Shout out to the homie Cody. If y'all are this far in and you just saw Cody hijack the fucking the video here, just comment the word Cody below and I know you're a one. I know you made it this far. Let's keep going.
but he was like, this is something you need to do. It's something that's coming from a place of wanting to do better for me, for my patients, for my husband, and for everybody. Like, I just feel like this can't be it.
Good.
I know I'm not doing it right. There's something wrong here.
Good. And have you been feeling this way your whole career, or how long have you been feeling this way for?
Oh yeah, since residency. Even as a resident, like I would consistently get like, really good feedback. Like,
Remember the checkbox, right? What is the problem itself, the impacts of that problem, and then the duration and how long the problem has been going on for. And so you want to hold off before asking the duration because it has a lot more punch when you have context. Think of it this way. How long have you wanted to lose weight versus how long have you been fucking fat, struggling to go up the stairs, not liking what you see in the mirror? How long have you been going to the pool with the shirt on, not having energy to play with your kids? How long has that been going on for? It's going to sting a lot more when you can get more context around how fucked their situation actually is.
your medical knowledge is great, your bedside manner is great, you're so empathetic, like you're energetic, But they would always be like, your notes aren't getting done quick enough. Hey, did you fill those refill requests? Like that's been always a problem for me.
Yeah. And how long ago was it? Like, so I guess 3 years, so 5 years total that you've been feeling this way?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And in that 5 years, like, what steps would you say you've taken towards getting more of that professional help so that you are filling things out?
So now we understand that what she's done. Now we're moving into solution, right? Now we're going to understand what she's done. This is what I call heaven/the solution stage, where the four main things here is to figure out what she's done, number one, to challenge her for not doing enough, to DQ anything else that she's considered. So there's 5, right? And then to have her sell herself on our solution and then future pace, right? And what does success actually look like? So what have you done? Challenge her on not doing enough. DQ anything else, sell yourself on me and my solution, and then future pace, what does success actually look like? So that's now this part of the call. Let's keep going.
That on time and you are present with your husband. Like, what would you say you've done?
Okay, so I kind of talked about the sort of trying to have a barrier around how much work, how much time I'm spending at work.
Yeah.
And so because I also can't, got in trouble for having 1,300 things in my inbox, like that also didn't work out. So what I did was a couple things. So one, I've learned to let go of you don't need to deep dive into every single notification in your inbox. So a lot of the charts, because I'm primary care, you get CC'd charts. So every time someone's in the ER, every time someone went to the surgeon, every time somebody went to therapy or whatever, they send your charts. Those are the kinds of things I used to hold on to, be like, oh, I'm going to read those later because it matters to my patient's well-being, and I'll update my notes and blah, blah, blah. No, I let go of that. I now, at this point, I only look at those, if I'm actively with the patient and it's coming up in our visit, oh, I saw my surgeon, something
sounds
like
like-
that.
Yeah. And I know you talked about the pendulum swinging, right? So it sounds
Yes.
like for the most part, what you've done is mostly on your own, like figuring it out by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, no.
Where I'm getting at here, what this boils down to is she hasn't went out and gotten support. All the shit that she's done has been on her own, right?
Actually, no. I've been asking, I told you I have one colleague who's a box wizard. So I've been asking him to mentor me a little bit. He's a young physician as well, and but he's been in the role a couple more years than me, and his box is always 0. He's always up to date. So I've asked him a lot, how are you meeting these goals? I can't go 100% where he goes because I'm going to be honest with you, he does neglect a lot. He doesn't really review a lot of things that I think put patients in dangerous situations. So I can't go 100% where he is, but I've taken some of his tactics.
Yeah.
So you don't have to see everything in your box. Not everything is the most important thing. Let go of certain tasks and just done them. Basically, just clear them out.
Yeah.
And so that's good, first of all, that you've taken something from him, right? What do you think's prevented you so far from maybe getting more of that, even if you don't know we existed in particular, but what do you think's prevented you from getting more of that, professional support as opposed to continuing trying to do it alone or asking coworkers? What do you think's prevented you there?
So I'm ripping away her answer. They used to commonly say, well, I didn't know this existed. Well, I didn't know you. I just found out about you guys. So I'm ripping that away, and I'm asking what's prevented her ultimately from being more proactive and seeking more advanced support rather than trying to do it herself, rather than trying to ask the people around her. Before we keep going, we've covered a lot here, right? We've covered the frame and how to keep your frame high, right? How to drop their guard, how to put them in a decision-making state. We've covered how to get balls deep in problems and understanding both the logical, the emotional problems, and the duration. And now, as we're talking about the solution and stringing these things together, there's really 2 ways you could go about it. You can continue watching more and more videos like this and trying to string these pieces together by yourself, or you can work with someone who can review your calls, who can tell you exactly and pinpoint what went wrong and what could have been better, and helping you speed up the process to how fast you're able to implement this stuff and ultimately get paid more. So if that's you, you're on an offer right now, you know there's money being left on the table, hit the link below, see if us working together makes sense. If you are potentially one of the 5 new people that I work with every single month. That's only if you're serious about leveling up quick. Let's keep going.
Yeah, honestly, just thought if I can figure it out. I thought with he's doing it, so if I can figure out what he's doing, if I can let go. I've been trying to let go of some of those anal tendencies. My notes aren't as in depth, so I've just been trying to tweak it on my own. But I feel like I've maxed myself out. I feel like I've maxed out what I can do to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And that's when I reached out to you guys, because I'm still getting in trouble at work, even though I've done everything I know to do.
Yeah, because I want to say something else without offending you. I know I'm challenging you pretty hard.
So if you're listening closely to what she's saying and what I'm saying, you've identified another problem here, and the problem is that she has this mindset of I need to figure it out on my own. If they can, why can't I? And B, she's been reactive as opposed to being proactive in solving this. She waited until shit's hitting the fan, she's on the naughty list, and her job is bitching at her before doing something about it. We have to call that out.
Pretty hard. You ready?
Yeah.
That's also what's going to keep you stuck. That mindset of, I have to figure it out on my own. I can figure it out on my own. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if we really look at it, right, respectfully, of course, that perspective of I have to be able to figure it out on my own without getting outside support, what has that costed you so far?
Yeah, no, you're so right. And to be honest, I did ask my work for support a year ago.
So where are we in the process right now? We've figured out what she's done to try to solve this, and now we're challenging her on with the shit that she's done has not been enough.
A year ago, and they also told me to figure it out. They were figure it out. We don't have anything like this. We don't know of anything like this. If you want to do something like this, find it. And that's when I started looking, and ultimately it took me a while, but that's why I came to you guys.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it fair to say
That's externalizing. She is still externalizing. She's saying, well, my job told me to just figure it out. Okay, well, that means that you not doing anything outside of that, your job, means that you did not own responsibility to go out there and get the support to figure it out. And she needs to own that.
saying that, and like we're gonna have some light bulbs together, right? Because this is what's gonna get you out of this. Is it fair to say that maybe you haven't been like as proactive 100% as you can in these last few years, these last 5 years towards overcoming this? Is that fair to say?
Yes. There's that feeling of like you're just trying to swim so you don't drown. And so if you're just trying to swim so you don't drown, in a lot of ways, it kind of prevents you from like turning around and noticing there's a life buoy right behind you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to make that into an analogy, but yeah,
I know
definitely.
what you mean.
I think it definitely should have probably or could have thought about this way sooner in residency. And I think part of me
Right.
was just thinking,
Right? This is exactly what I said is she's been reactive as opposed to being proactive, and now she's putting that in her own words that she waited until she was drowning before turning around and getting the life jacket or the lifeboat.
when I'm attending, it'll get better because I knew I was going into academic medicine and I thought, oh, when I'm supervising residents, I will personally have less work, which was naive. That was naive. It was wrong.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to
And the
survive
chain-
residency.
The chain of thoughts there of like it'll get better after residency or I had to figure it out on my own. This chain of thinking, what has that costed you so far?
Just a lot of, sleepless nights.
So you have to remember, because I asked her earlier, right, this way of thinking, I was like, respectfully, what has that costed you? And she didn't answer me. And she started saying, oh, well, she started to dance around it. I'm still bringing it right back and getting an answer to the fucking question that I just asked her of like, okay, but what has that actually costed you? Right now we're going to get an answer.
Just a lot of, sleepless nights, a lot of stress. It's cost me, having a good relationship with my boss. It's cost me, like I said, my
That's-
patients. I worry about my patients. It's a lot.
Yeah, I see that, right?
And job satisfaction, which I love my job other than this. I love my job other than this.
And so is that way of thinking, is that worth holding on to, or should we maybe start to?
No, let's go. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Let's let go of it.
Yeah. And our brains are funny place because like part of you knows this isn't.
Detaching her from the way of thinking that hasn't served her, right? Is this way of thinking serving you, or are you ready to let go of it? She says, no, I'm ready to let go of it. That's good, right? But I'm going to challenge that a little bit.
This isn't serving her. She knows it's not good for her. But there's also the side of you that's been doing this and that's been comfortable doing this for so long. That way of thinking were to show itself that we identified as held you back, would we as your coaches have your permission to keeping you accountable and empowering you to overcome that if that way of thinking were to show itself?
Yes, I would love that. Call me out.
We'll fight,
Any
kick,
day.
and scream.
So what I did there is we just completely took away her ability to say, I'm going to continue figuring this out alone. I don't know if I call it her ability to say that, but her decision-making process of let me continue figuring it out alone. So if at the end of the call, she gives me the objection of, okay, can I just try another month or two to just continue trying it this way and see if things get better? That is completely stripped from her now. She can't say that.
And scream to stay comfortable. And it may not always directly be like, you're fucking doing it again, you're being comfortable. It may show itself in different ways of, let me talk to this person, let me think about this, let me do this. Like if it were to show itself, as long as we could keep you accountable, that's what.
And I'm very purposely using language that objections typically show themselves in, of let me talk to this person, partner objection, of let me think about it, let me sleep on it. This is how objections show themselves. So if she starts to use language like that or similar to that, I can bring it back to the fact that she asked me to keep her accountable.
That's what would get you out of it. So we have your permission?
Of course, absolutely. I would
I'm not
love
always this
that.
nice too. I'm not always this nice, just so you know.
And like,
I'm not always this nice, meaning like we're probably gonna have a boxing match at the end, and as long as you know that I'm gonna keep you to the standard that you're asking me for, that's the only thing that matters. So now we've checked that off, right? We figured out how they tried to solve this, pretty much DQ'd the solutions of like trying to work with other people or figuring out like working with coworkers and all this other bullshit. We've challenged her on not doing enough. And now we're about to move into step 3 or 4, which is her selling herself on the solution of us. Like, what is it that you saw about us that makes you feel like this could potentially be the solve?
What was it that you saw about Dr. that made you feel like, well, let's backtrack a little bit because you said something about therapy, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about therapy because a lot of our clients have done that. A lot of our
See, I caught myself because I didn't fully DQ that, right? I didn't fully DQ the therapy thing because in my mind, I just remembered in the call that I'm like, oh, fuck, there's still a chance that she could say, oh, well, let me continue talking to my therapist. Like, sure, she's not going to say, let me continue doing it alone and let me continue working with these other people, but that's still on the table and we want to be able to completely cut that.
clients have been through therapy for years and years and years, and for some reason, they're still not able to get to the root of these specific problems. Reasons different for everyone. What do you feel like is the reason for you we're still in this place despite therapy?
talked to a therapist about this actually, about work struggles. So I should have, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think that's honestly it.
That's a red flag because she said I haven't talked to my therapist, but I probably should have now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I just have focused so much on personal healing, trying to be better for my husband, better communication, those kinds of things, which I'm sure have helped me in my career, but I haven't directly been like, hey, help me be a more efficient doctor and a better doctor and those kinds of things.
Ways, right? Because internally, if you thought that's what would solve it, you would have done that. But you seek this, and here we are.
And you
Yeah,
need
I
to
know. I'm feeling like I'm
Yeah, that's-
surprised by how this visit's going. I didn't know it was going to be like this. Honestly, I thought it was going to be more like these are the tips, and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm back in therapy. So it's
Yeah.
So don't let that go over your head, right? She's saying she wasn't expecting the call to go like this. She wasn't expecting me to challenge her and to get her to look internally. She was expecting to come on here and then I just give her a bunch of information, tips. In other words, I pitch to her and then she gets the information, goes and thinks about it and continues to externalize. And so we're already starting to shift her decision making to a way that is going to serve her better, right? And the therapy thing, right? She told me that she's been to therapy and then she gave me a red flag and said, oh, well, I actually haven't asked my therapist about this. Like, I actually haven't even thought of that. So she's ultimately saying, well, maybe I should. And I'm putting a frame on her and saying, well, our subconscious brains are funny because the fact that you're here, even though you have therapy, means that subconsciously there's something about that solution that you don't think is going to work, right? Which is what brought us here today.
Yeah, no.
No, that's not this.
That's different.
Because let's
I guess I'm surprised that this is how it's going, but I mean, not uncomfortably so, or not like I'm not mad about it.
yeah, let's unpack that because again, our subconscious mind is funny, right? Because if you knew that therapy is what's going to get you out of this, then you would have just did that, right?
Yeah, I would have just done that for sure.
we wouldn't have
100%.
been here.
So like, what in your mind, what do you think is the thing that's missing with therapy to where you feel like you need more like support that's not that? Like, what do you think? What do you think the reason is in your mind?
Can you rephrase that for me? I'm not understanding your question.
I thought it was pretty clear, but shit probably got blurry, so I just need to re-ask it again. This will happen as well, right? You just need to re-ask the shit.
Yeah, no. So basically, what I'm saying is that maybe subconsciously, part of you doesn't believe that therapy is the thing to help you overcome this, right? Because otherwise, you would have just brought it to your next session and asked your therapist. But you've made efforts to potentially get outside support beyond that. And so my question for you is like, what do you feel like is the thing about therapy in itself that isn't going to 100% get you out of this? Like, what do you think that is?
I probably didn't even think about it as an option. I'm sure I didn't realize that this was, I'm sure like anything you don't want to, like you said, change is uncomfortable. Maybe there's a part of me that likes the way I doctor. I love the feedback I get from patients. They love that I spend time with them. They feel safe when I leave. They feel like their questions were answered. There's a lot of positive.
What have I been saying this whole video? She did not want to internalize it, and now she's starting to. And she knows that going to her therapist and bringing this up would not help, and she wouldn't internalize it if she were to do that. Therapist's gonna keep telling, keep fucking doing your thing. This will get better with time, right? Let's keep going.
Positive feedback there. So like I feel like I'm killing it in terms of my patient relationships, but obviously at the sacrifice of other things. And I think probably, I'm sure subconsciously, if I had to guess, part of me doesn't want to change the way I doctor. Because I like it. I like the way it feels to be in depth and thorough and be with my patients and spend that time with my patients.
I don't want to look within. I don't want to internalize it. I want to keep externalizing it and do what I'm doing, even though I know it's not serving me because it's uncomfortable to change.
And that's my favorite part of my job. So I'm sure there's some hesitance to change that maybe that's kept me from even thinking about it. I don't know, to be honest, Nick. It's a good question. I have to sit with that a little bit longer.
I love when people say that's a good question. If someone tells you that's a good question, that means you're cooking in the call. I hate when people say shit like, oh, you're a good sales guy. Like, you're such a good salesperson. I fucking hate that. But this is one of the best compliments you could get because she's really having to stop and think about how she's put herself in this position and why she's done it.
But that would be my best guess.
Okay. You're right. It is uncomfortable, and you are going to have to change certain ways about how you do certain things. Are you willing to look at that, the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable, and actually make the changes? Or is it not a big enough priority to where you can continue going through life the way you are and letting things pile the way they are and letting things happen the way they are? Is it more uncomfortable than changing?
No, it's so much more uncomfortable. I can't do this. I can't keep going the way I am. I'm going to quit my job, and then I'm going to have to run from the country because I'm $500,000 in student loan debt. I won't be able to afford it from another career. So I really desperately, more than anything, really want to find a happy medium where I'm still, feeling like I'm taking care of my patients, but I'm also taking care of me, taking care of my husband, I'm taking care of my charts. Everybody's happy. Like, I'm willing to believe
Yes.
that world exists, and I'm willing to make the changes to
Good.
get as close to that as possible.
Good.
And obviously, we also, what we haven't said, and you kind of brought this up in the beginning, within the world of the box is insane, and there's nothing we can do about the fact that the box in and of itself is a modern medicine problem. But
Yes.
letting go of that and that which we cannot change, I am willing to and ready to make significant changes in my philosophy and,
Good.
you know, to me,
Like I said,
Something I always say is the person who joined the call is not going to be the person who buys, right? It's going to be a different version of them. And so she pretty much just told me in a couple different ways that she's been viewing it as a modern medicine problem, which is something she cannot change, which she now has to look within, right? She also said a little earlier, a little higher up, she said that she doesn't want to change, right? Like part of her wants to continue doing things the same and doesn't want to look at it within. Like this is a person who is shifting their worldviews. This sales is powerful, guys. You're watching her worldview and her perspective start to shift. And so what do you think she's gonna make a decision through the lens of? The worldview that she's now starting to create, the identity that she's starting to create. Let's keep going. Like our brains are like part of you knows this isn't good for her and it's not serving her, but you've been comfortable, right? And that's exactly what this uncovered there. Like when I asked you about therapy, it's like, well, maybe part of me doesn't want to change.
yeah,
The conversation going the way it is. Because unless we pick that apart, then you stay stuck,
sure, that makes sense.
right?
I mean, I do like being that kind of doctor. I like being the kind of doctor that the patients feel safe with and they feel like they got everything they needed, and that gives me a big like job satisfaction for sure. But it's completely neglected if you miss their AKI and you're finding out about a month later. It takes all the fun out of it.
Exactly.
So it doesn't. It's not like it's the only. It can't be the only way.
They could feel good in the visit, but then they don't get the care they need afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's completely
Right.
exactly.
And like, what was it that you saw?
And people bring that.
And this is also powerful because we're also shifting her perspective on what good quality care is, right? Good. She says that good things previously that good quality care is answering every single question that they come in for, is them not feeling neglected. But she's so behind on her charts that the things don't get ordered, the labs don't get ordered, and then the patients still don't get what they fucking need. And so indirectly, that her not changing this is her being her worst fear, which is neglecting her patients. Let's keep going.
People bring that up with me, by the way. Like, oh, it's so great to see you, but like, I can never reach you on the box. Like, you can never answer my questions. I'm like, oh yeah, because I haven't seen them because I have, hundreds of box messages. And up until this point, I've just been willing to like brush that off like as a box problem. Like, oh, it's like 5,000 people having your email. That's like my favorite thing to say.
I've been willing to brush that off as a box problem. I've been comfortable externalizing. A lot of you guys watching right now, your prospects say things like this all the time. They give you so many signs that they struggle with ownership and accountability, and you just let it keep going and you don't call it out. After this video, you're not going to do that again.
They reach me, schedule an appointment. I think part of me is holding on to that.
Right? Exactly. Right? And like, again, I've been challenging you like super hard the whole call, but like these are the things that are going to keep you here. And unless we break these barriers down in your mind, we could talk about our feelings all day long, right? But you're not going to get out of this until we break that. And so like, are you willing to make the active decision of these are the things that are not serving me? It's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm willing to break it.
Yes.
Good. That was a strong yes. That wasn't like the one you said earlier was a little wishy-washy. That was a strong yes. And take me back, like when you saw Dr. What did you see?
Okay, so I remembered that I haven't fucking DQ'd the other solution, so I went back and I did that. And so now we're moving into the part of having her sell herself on what she saw about us that makes her feel like we could potentially help.
Oh, what did you see about her that made you feel like, okay, maybe this lady screaming at a camera could potentially help me? Like,
What made you go for it?
I mean, honestly, I think, there's a lot of things like her credentials and the number of clients she's worked with. And, I think the, just like the reviews that say that, all these people saying she was life-changing. It was all of that.
yeah. So she didn't put you to bed. That's good. She didn't bore you.
No.
Okay.
And we're talking a lot about.
I didn't watch the full video though. To be fair, don't tell her I said that.
So it did bore you.
Stuff.
Well, shit.
Yeah, it was a little bit boring, but I got what I felt like the essence was.
Yeah. So let's rewind. Like we're talking a lot about what we're getting away from, but where are we actually going, right? Like,
So that was easy, right? She said that the credentials and basically like she really resonated with the influencer. Now we can move on to future pacing. And understand this too, like my calls don't always take this long, but sometimes there's just a lot of shit that you need to unpack with these people to be able to put yourself in the best possible position to help them get the help that they need, right? And so I'm okay with my calls being a little bit longer at times. Like ideally, I like to start pitching at 30 minutes. I didn't start pitching until like 45, 50 minutes, which is, I'll take it. Right? If it means helping the person get a deal, even if I have to miss the next call and reschedule the next call, right? And so now we're going to move into the future pace. A sales call is an emotional roller coaster. Now that we've been at the bottom for a while and we've been talking about how shitty things are, now we're going to bring it back up and we're going to talk about what success looks like. Get her on fucking la la land.
Actually going, right? Like, let's say, like, what does success look like? Let's say we're 6 months out. It's January. What will be the signs you've been able to overcome this? How things look?
So I would be reaching my work goals. So all my notes signed for the residents within a week. All of my results within, I would like to be within a few days. I think my official goal, like for work, is within a week, but I would like to be within a few days because I don't want to miss those high risk situations. And also within this amount of time I'm currently working. You know, I don't want to work more than I am. And if I work less, even better. So that's kind of my goal, is like to try to get it all done in a reasonable amount of time. Which to me, like, I don't want to be outside of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I don't work weekends. That's a big hell no from me. Absolutely not. Never.
Sweet. And this, you hitting your work goals, your notes are signed within a week or within a few days, like you said. How does this affect the way that you show up for Corey?
I'll just rest on.
Right? Remember, that's important to her, is being able to show up better for her husband. She said very clearly how important her marriage is to her. And we have the name, which we can make it even more real. How does this affect you being able to show up for him?
Just rest. I'll sleep like a baby. Me and Corey can hang out when I'm at home. I won't even have to think about work because I'll feel like I did everything I needed to do and I'm happy to put my computer away. Like, that does exist within me. When I'm feeling like I did my job, I have no problem walking away from work. That's one thing I won't have to worry about. I'm not a workaholic. I do believe in work-life boundaries. That's totally why I went to primary care. So I think the biggest thing will just be that sense of like anxiety, like work anxiety, or like the fear that you're missing something, just letting that go. And showing up for me and Corey will just be a lot less like being, you know, more present, less scrolling, because I know that my scrolling is a symptom of like not wanting to think about all the things I have to do.
Yep.
Which I don't want to scroll either. I hate that, actually. So that would be good for my mental health.
I agree. And when we look at this again, like I said, like tactics and efficiency strategies, what you were hoping to get, which we're going to dive into, is important, but it's less important than who you need to become, right? And so when we look 6 months from now, we could call this woman 2.0. What characteristics or traits do you think she has?
More identity work, right? The biggest, most important thing with this woman is that she needs to change her identity. That's the whole fucking point, right? Is she needs to change her identity and she needs to make decisions through the lens of the identity of the person that she wants to be, of the woman that she sees herself as in the future, not the current version. Person who joins the call is not going to be the person who buys. So now we're going to make it even more clear what that identity is.
Okay, so I would say, based on everything we've talked about today and becoming conscious of some previously subconscious things, I would say, obviously, she's still compassionate and empathetic and present for her patients, but she is willing to let go of the small things, willing to model more efficiently. Maybe she's got a clear plan to get in and out of the room.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know.
That's good. And you started to scratch at it, right? Because there would also be things to let go of. And so part of it is, like you said, the anxiety or the fear of missing something, right? Part of what you just said is like letting go of the small things. If we dig deeper, what else comes to mind when we think of like ways of thinking we'd have to let go of?
Where I'm trying to take her is the externalizing and letting go of that. I don't know. I don't think she completely takes it that direction. We'll see.
Like, I started to say perfection was like what I was gonna say, so we can use that word, but like, maybe it doesn't have to be perfect. Letting go. Let's see. I could let go of like, you know, to a certain extent. Getting back to what you were saying. I mean, technically, all these patients are under my medical license. Like, I can let go of like not every patient's my patient. Like, these are the residents' patients. The resident is their doctor.
Control. That's yes. Let go of some control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
But what about that idea of neglect? That idea of like, if I'm not doing all these million things, then I'm neglecting them. You think we'd have to let go of that?
Yeah, that one might be hard, though. You're gonna have to help me with that one.
Yeah, as long as you make the decision to. Because like, we have to look at the other side. What happens if another year?
Okay, so more feedback for myself. It looks like the call is also just getting a little longer, right? But I didn't necessarily hit the externalizing point, but I did hit the control, right? Letting go of the being a control freak thing, because If she were to try to give me the objection at the end of, well, let me just continue trying to do it how I've been doing it, well, that's the control bullshit showing itself again. And so the whole point of a discovery, guys, isn't to eliminate every single objection. It's to eliminate as many of them as you can, but more importantly, put yourself in the best possible position to handle them when those motherfuckers come up. Right? So now what we're about to move into, which is the last part of the call, before pitching, is now the consequence. Because remember, it's an emotional roller coaster, right? We're low, we're up, we're low. Right now we're up, and we're about to bring her right back low, and talking about what happens if she doesn't change. And then we're gonna pitch and bring her back up and be like, look, I know for a fact we can fucking help.
Another year, another 2-3 years go by, and we're still telling ourselves this story of I have to hit these million things, or I have to have 100% control, right? Or I have to ultimately, or I have to figure it out on my own. That's another thing. Like, what happens if another year or two go by, we're still telling ourselves this story and nothing changes? What are the consequences of that?
Just gonna burn out. I don't think I'll be in this field much longer, to be honest. And
I think I love giving myself feedback. Like, more feedback for myself is just ask the fucking question, bro. Just ask what happens if we don't let go of these things and nothing changes. Like, I think I gave a little too much context right there, but I still get a good answer. But I think something that could have probably helped shorten this call up a little bit is just ask the fucking question.
then, like I said, like there's huge, huge financial consequences. So yeah, you're right. I think I can let go of the feeling of neglect because I do know there's multiple types of neglect, and it feels very neglectful to be so behind on my box. So it's kind of trading tit for tat. Like,
And I guess
yeah.
That's exactly right. And I guess the real question, not being in this field much longer, huge financial consequences, are you willing to continue settling for that?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah. I'm gonna challenge you again, right? Why not? And what I mean by that is for 5 years,
Right? And the hell stage is very simple. What happens if nothing changes? Are you willing to settle for that? Right? I didn't call it out again, but it's somewhere on the side of the screen, like you see the fucking box, right? Where we're in hell/consequence. And so I asked her if she's willing to, well, what happens if nothing changes? She gave me really good answers. Is she willing to settle for that? Right? She's not willing to settle for that. Why isn't she?
have settled for that, right? And like you said, part of you doesn't want to change the way she doctors because of how comfortable it is. It's like, what's actually different this time that we're not willing to continue settling for these ways of thinking that have kept you here?
I think I'm just being forced, honestly. It's my work is my boss is literally hard shoving. Like, threatening to keep me from vacation means less time with my family. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that is the biggest thing. I think that's what's changed is like really having ultimatums. Because in residency, I wasn't really having ultimatums. I mean, they'd be like, do better, but you're doing a great job, but do better. And this is different. This is like, you're doing bad. And I'm not that. I mean, I was a collegiate athlete. I'm a doctor. I'm the kind of person who wants to do well. So yeah.
Identity. I'm the kind of person who wants to do well. I'm not that.
Being in that position, it's not comfortable. So maybe this is finally more uncomfortable than what I was doing before.
Okay. Well, let's get you out of this. I know for a fact. I know for a fact we could help you out. Like, it probably feels like you're in your own bubble in your own little world here, but this is exactly what we do. And boom, just like that, we're ready to pitch, right? And so if you've made it this far, I know this is probably going to be a long ass video. It's probably an hour plus, but if you've made it this far, it says a lot about you. It shows that you actually take your development serious, you take your skill set serious, and you're not just trying to look for the next gimmick and the next easy thing to do, right? We went through a lot here. We went through framing the call. We went through finding the logical and the emotional problems. We went through challenging them on not doing enough. We went through future pacing correctly, being able to build an identity around the type of person who moves forward. We went through ripping it all away with the cost of inaction, right? And so if you run a discovery the way I just showed you here, you can pitch a fucking bag of air and they are going to buy because of how understood they are, because of all the doors that you've shut, which are not buying. So I'm not going to show the pitch. Maybe I'll shoot another video like this to break down exactly how I pitch and how I tie the problems she said to the problems that we solve, the solutions she wants from the solutions that we give. But again, that's going to be for a different video. And just like that, I was able to close a high-level doctor on a $8,000 executive premium coaching offer in real time. You have full transparency of exactly how to do it on your own. Again, guys, if you're watching this, actually go implement. There's a lot of shit there. Even if you just take one thing and go implement it, right? Maybe it's the way you start your calls. Maybe it's the way you probe, the way you identity frame, the way you get challenges. Like, if there's just one thing just take it and go implement it on your calls. DM me on Instagram. Let me know how it goes. So if you made it this far, that means that you also saw my cat Cody come and hijack the fucking camera. So comment the word Cody if you're this far in. It means you're a real one. Again, if you are this far, it means you take your development serious. So I respect you a lot for that. If you want to see what it looks like for us to work one-on-one, hit the link down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the post notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Peace.